When my daughter left me alone for Christmas, I smiled and sold everything. 58 calls later. My name is Ethan. I'm a retired businessman from Seattle, 63 years old. And this is how my family took me for granted and how I finally took my life back. For 22 years, I worked more than 60 hours a week, sacrificing weekends, dreams, and health just to give my daughter Clara everything she could ever need. I paid for her expensive college tuition, her trips abroad, even her wedding party. I believed love meant giving without limit. But in December, I discovered what it feels like when all those sacrifices are repaid with rejection. It was a cold December morning when Clara called. Her voice was colder than the air outside. "Dad, we've decided it would be better if you didn't come for Christmas this year." Her words hit me like a blow. For 28 years, Christmas had been our most sacred tradition. We had never missed one. "Why?" I asked, my throat tight. She hesitated only a moment. "James thinks you interfere too much in our lives." And I agree.
James, her husband of 3 years.
Suddenly, I was no longer her father, but an unwanted guest in her life. My love, my advice, my presence, all branded as interference. I could have argued, begged, or reminded her of all I had done. Instead, I stayed calm. "If that's what you want, Clara, I'll respect it." There was silence on the line, surprise in her breathing. "You're really not going to fight me on this?" she asked. "No, you're an adult now. You've made your decision." She said goodbye. I sat in my car for 10 long minutes. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I smiled, because for 6 months I had been preparing for this moment. Clara didn't know, but I had already started the process of selling my company. That Monday morning I signed the papers. 30 years of hard work reduced to a number, $9 million in my account. But for me, it wasn't money, it was freedom. For the first time in decades, I was no longer the provider, no longer chained to responsibilities. I was just Ethan. With clarity I hadn't felt in years, I made decisions quickly. I booked a ticket to Portugal, the homeland of my grandparents and the dream destination of my late wife. I donated $3 million across charities, a children's cancer foundation, a hospital, and a senior home. I put my house and car up for sale. Packing was brutal. I sifted through nearly 3 decades of memories. Clara's first steps, her graduations, her wedding. Each photo showed a proud father, but also a man who had forgotten who he was. I selected a few to take and left the rest for her. That Friday, almost a week after her call, my phone rang. James. He had never once called me directly. His voice was uneasy. "Ethan, she misses you. Clara's been acting strange." I told him gently, "You both said I interfered too much. I'm only respecting that." I hung up, feeling neither anger nor relief, just a strange validation. By Saturday, Clara's calls began. 1, 2, then dozens. By Sunday, the count had risen to 61. Her messages filled my phone. "Dad, I'm sorry. Dad, please answer. Dad, I miss you. Dad, don't abandon me." For the first time, she was chasing me. That afternoon, she came to my house. She pounded on the door for nearly an hour, screaming, crying. "Dad, I know you're in there. Please, I can't lose you." I watched quietly from the living room window, remembering all the times she was too busy for me. I didn't open the door. Not yet. The following morning, my neighbor called. "Ethan, your daughter is here asking about you. She says you sold the company." Clara had learned the truth. Soon after, she returned with James, desperation written on both their faces. "Dad," she said, eyes red from crying, "is it true you sold everything? That you're leaving?" "Yes," I said calmly. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you made it clear you didn't want me in your life. For years, I was only the provider, the fixer, the wallet. But now I want to discover who Ethan is." She broke down. "I love you, Dad." I was stressed. "I didn't mean it. Please don't disappear." "I love you too, Clara. But love without respect is empty. I'm not abandoning you. I'm choosing myself for the first time in decades. You're 30 now. You have a husband. It's time I finally live too." I gave her a letter I had written, everything I had wanted to say for years. It was the hardest goodbye of my life, but the most necessary. 3 weeks later, Clara stood at the airport hugging me tightly. "Thank you for teaching me your value, Dad." Now 9 months later, I live in a quiet town near Porto. I own a small house overlooking the vineyards. I sip wine and remember my wife. Clara writes me every week. Letters filled not with requests for money, but with her thoughts, fears, and dreams. We are no longer only father and daughter. We are friends. Sometimes distance creates understanding. Sometimes 61 missed calls are what it takes to finally realize the value of someone you thought would always be there. Share here. Families, relationships, betrayals, sacrifices, and shocking twists. Every story hides a lesson, and every lesson hides a truth you may not be ready to hear. On this channel, you'll find stories that make you question trust, loyalty, and love. Some will inspire you, some will break your heart, and some will leave you speechless. So if you don't want to miss the next story that could change how you look at life, make sure to subscribe right now. Turn on the bell icon so you'll be the first to know when a new story drops, because sometimes the difference between understanding life and missing the lesson is just one click on that subscribe button. Don't just listen, be part of the journey.